Yeah.
Welcome everybody. Brandy and I have just been chit-chatting away. Just before we even jump into this, but I'd love to welcome you guys all to this month. Is it August? It is August edition of our Details University, and I am Corrine Heck, your host. I'm excited to introduce you guys to. She's become quite a sensational friend of mine over the last year and a half, and every time I see her, so I was like, you have to come on and give a class about AI. So everybody, without further ado, my good friend, Brandy Ferrer. And I got that right, right?
Yes,
What did
yes.
you say? Remember your name? It's fur like a coat,
Fur
rare like a
coat,
state.
rare state. Yeah.
I, I might never forget that now. It's very French looking, or I'm not sure if that's
Yeah.
French, but welcome, Brandy. I'm so happy to see you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you. Thank you. I love my Details family. I've been part of the Details family for years. So I've always been, a huge fan of your product. So
Thank you. Well, yes, she's also a customer. So I'm very excited to introduce everybody that's online and watching this on video to Brandy. I first really gained attention from her when she entered one of our design competitions, I think a few years ago with
yes.
sunflowers. And she did this gorgeous, and maybe it was last year, it was a gorgeous headpiece of her daughter, and you may recognize it. We'll post a picture of it in here in the replay so that everybody can see that. But kudos to you on entering that. And you won a lot of flowers, I think, from our partners over at,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Over at Ball. And we've got the beautiful Bradley sunflowers.
Yes.
They were so pretty. They have those gorgeous yellow centers. So they're very unique. That was wonderful. That was a wonderful, fun contest to do.
Yeah, we'll have to do something like that again. But if you enter, you're going to win because this year you won an even bigger award. Would you mind saying how you've been newly crowned?
Um, yes, I won the Texas Designer of the Year, and
Wonderful.
thank you. It was I had gotten second place last year, and then I won this year, and I literally prepared for an entire year
Wow.
to go back and hopefully win the cup. And I am so excited to be representing Texas State Floral Association this year and doing all kinds of fun things with them. I got to go to Sylvia Cup, which was an amazing experience. So we'll talk
Yes.
about
And
that.
this Sylvia Cup is at the Society of American Florists, which just happened, I think, a week or so ago, 10 days ago. And that's why I feel like I've been seeing you everywhere. First,
Yes,
AIFD, because you were there this year. And
yes.
that's how this whole conversation got started because you gave a class there on AI. And
Mhm.
such a well-attended class. I was really excited to see so many people participating in a business class because it was more business and not design. And that is
Very
always,
true.
and there were so many people that were interested. So we're definitely going to dig into that. But I want to get back to how you got started because you recently, like, what, 7 years ago, switched from, you were an educator for well over 15 years or so. So
That's
tell
right.
me about that pivot because I feel like a lot of people come to floristry from outside. Maybe they're in corporate and just want to like own their own business. So can you tell us your journey and why you did?
Yes, yes, I can. So both of my parents were small business owners. Neither one were flower shop owners, but they were small business owners, and so I kind of had that in my blood. But I went to Oklahoma City University to be a teacher, and while I was in Oklahoma City, I worked in a flower shop there in Oklahoma City, and they put me on weddings, and so I wasn't very good. Um, and just being a college student, but I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And I I started my career as an elementary teacher. A
Mm.
couple of years in, I keep forgetting to tell people this part of the story. You know how things happened to you like 20 years ago and you completely forget, and then you're like, oh wait. Um, so about my son was 2 years old. We traveled down to Houston to my husband's cousin's wedding. We got there and something had happened with their florist. Either there was a misunderstanding, or the florist flaked out on them. I can't remember. Anyway, when we got there, they had bought all of these flowers from, I guess, like Sam's Club, and they didn't know what to do. So I took over, and by the end of the day, they had centerpieces and bouquets and everything. And then I was like, yeah, I really love this. But I had already started my career. So I continued to do weddings on the weekends, because two broke teachers, my husband was a coach too. So I did weddings on the weekends, and then I became an administrator. I got my master's, and then I had to put it aside just because I was so busy, and I really missed it. And then about 7 years ago, we were moving back to East Texas from Odessa. My husband had gotten a high school principal job here in East Texas, and I was going to work at one of the region service centers. Probably, I don't know, I really wasn't excited about it. Well, there was this little rundown flower shop in the town next to us that was for sale. And when I say rundown, I mean rundown. So I bought it for next to nothing and started from scratch and knew pretty much nothing. And now it is kind of in the hub of this town. We're in the middle of the county. I now own a building on the historic square in Gilmer. And my little tiny shop that grossed $35,000 the first year now grosses between 500 and 600,000 a year.
Amazing.
I have 5 employees, and we just have a really fun time. I've really embed myself in the culture of the town, and sorry about that. And it's it's been really great. It's been a long journey, but to start out in this little rundown building with this next to nothing shop, and to now be where I am, it's quite amazing. And I think it's a good story to tell, because it shows that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're in a small town or a large city. You can make it work. You just have to make smart business decisions. And being a flower shop owner is only partially about floral design. There's a whole lot more to it. If it was just about floral design, it would be super easy, because that comes naturally to all of us as florists. But the other parts, not so much sometimes. The business, the finances, the employee relationships, all of that.
Well, I love, and I can appreciate digging in and hearing your story. And I feel like you are a lot like a lot of our customers. When we look at the demographic of who our customer is, it's usually 86% of them are women. They're all small business owners. They all have between 3 and 5 employees. So you really fit the mold, I think, of a large segment of the details population. And I feel like it's really important that we give people the tools to help them run their businesses better, because we all are just like this in the small club, but we're all entrepreneurs, right, at heart. And you have this dream that you have, and you kind of want to be in control of your own future and your finances. And it's like painting the picture of what that needs to look like, right? And whether it's in your small town or another small town or a big city, it's really just putting together the same pieces. So I appreciate your story. It really resonates with me, because I feel like that's where I started too, so many years ago. And it was just like,
I remember
want to do this,
Yes, I remember when details first came out. I was one of your first customers. So yes.
Thank you. Well, it's funny to me, because when I was running my business, I was like, well, why isn't there a tool to help me do this, and figure out all these other things. So, but I can appreciate that. So you were originally like an educator, and you're actually in your husband's office. We have to tell you, she's having her AC repaired in her office, and then she's been there all day. And so this is like, I'm like, this is his principal's office. There you go.
This is Texas heat right here. It was about 90 degrees in my shop this morning. So we had some customers who needed some things to go out today. So it's almost like when you deep dive and you hold your breath and you go down for as long as you can. That's kind of the way it was this morning. It's like, okay, how long can we last inside this 90-degree building before we pass out? So we got it all done real quick, but then I needed air conditioning to do this. So yeah.
Well, I would love to get some pictures from you, and we'll post that in the blog of your actual store so that people can
Oh,
see. Because I think they would love to see a building that's been around for that long, and then the person behind in front of the scenes, right?
about 125 years. Like I told you, she's a mean old thing, but she is beautiful.
I love that. I like how you're talking about her in pronouns. That's so funny. So I was really excited to see so many people attend your class, and I really want to dig in because as a small business, you likely don't have as many hands on deck, right, to do all the things that is necessary to do. And what I really loved is the way you structured that class at AIFD was breaking down all of the best tools that are out there and really gave people the opportunity to collaborate with other people in the audience and go around. But there were like 20 different tools. And so we took photographs of all of them. And I was really would love to share this with the audience because I think some of them are really brilliant. We have only adopted 25 or 27% of the tools that you've mentioned. So we either were already use them or have implemented them, but it's so difficult to implement new things into your operation. So is there some advice you can give people on where to start or how to get more tech savvy, and what are some of the benefits that they can pull from that
Right.
from business?
Exactly. I've always relied heavily on technology, especially in education. And then going into owning a flower shop and knowing absolutely nothing about the finances and the nuances of the floral industry, because it's very unique. It's almost kind of like the restaurant industry. We have the ebbs and flows. We have it a little bit slower in the summer and then busier, and you have a cold snap, and then you have more, funerals, and it's not a consistent. You have to see your trends. You have to know, and then that affects your inventory anyway. So I always relied heavily on technology and education. I relied on it even more heavily when I got into the floral industry, just because for so long in the beginning, I was a one-woman show.
Yeah.
So to make everybody feel better, for the first year and a half, I answered the phone, did the floral designs, locked the door, ran the deliveries at lunch, came back. I did it all myself. And I remember being up at the flower shop until, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes, just because I didn't have the finances at first to be able to bring anybody in. But I just kept plugging away, and I was really careful with every penny. And then eventually I got to that point, but technology was always there, because we don't have the capability to clone ourselves yet.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's coming though. I think it's coming.
To tell you the truth, with Chat GPT, I feel like I have cloned myself.
Yeah, really, no doubt.
Because here's the advice I would give. First of all, think about this. If you can implement something every day that saves you 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes, how much time over the course of a year are you going to get back? I mean, so be really proud of yourself if you're able to take even one thing that saves you 10 minutes a day. Because it's all about those small things, and that's what originally Chat GPT did for me. I started using Chat GPT right after it came out. I mean, I don't know how. I have a podcast I listen to, and someone had mentioned it, and kind of my ears just stood up. I was like, oh, okay, what's this? And I immediately started playing with it, and I felt like I cloned myself. And what's
I was
beautiful,
initially very afraid of it. Like I was like, there's no way I'm not using this. No, I love the writers I have. I don't want to, I felt like I was almost cheating on them, like on the people I had hired to do certain things. But then I notice how it helps speed up so many other things that I do personally. So it's not that you have to completely dissolve any type of relationship, but it just enhances all the work that you're currently doing. And maybe you have different asks for those people than something else.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Think about the things that you do in your business every single day that have to do with relationships, one-on-one with your customers, with your employees. And then think about the things that just suck up your time, you know, answering random emails, doing calculations, inventory. Those are the things where I find that tools like ChatGPT saves me time so I can actually get back to what is really important. You know,
Yeah.
product descriptions that go on my website. I'd spend forever making sure that they had, you know, SEO keywords in them and they were described. No. Nobody cares. I mean, it's a great description. I now program custom GPTs. I learned how to do that. So I have a whole set for my flower shop. They're pre-programmed with my brand persona, with my tone and voice of writing for the flower shop. So the one that's a product description, or it's my copywriter one. I just put, you know, I upload a picture of the floral design. I say it features this, and this, and it pops it out. That's the kind of thing that saves me time so I can get back to the design table. I can get back to my girls and get back to my customers. So it's the things that don't matter.
Google is looking for certain words, right? And it's like the amount of research you would have to do to know how to get this certain algorithm or to pull things. It just knows that already. And just by, you know, reading all the keywords on your website just to make, you know, those impressions matter is hugely beneficial. So I love that. How else, what are some of the misconceptions maybe that some people have or reservations that they have about implementing, like I had? Like, what are some others that you've heard?
Exactly. Okay, so let me put it this way. If you were born in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, you're used to an analog world. You are great with conversations. Like Microsoft Excel is the bane of my existence because formulas and coding and things like that, it doesn't make sense to me. So when I figured out that ChatGPT was like having a conversation with, let's say, your assistant, right? Or you can tell it to take on the persona of a tax expert or take on the persona of a marketing expert, you know. So if you can get past the fact that you're talking to a computer, I guess you would say, artificial intelligence, and you just think about it like having a conversation with someone, it's like 100 times easier. I mean, the things that I used to try to do on Microsoft Excel, I can just talk to ChatGPT and it will do it for me. I can just explain what I need. I don't have to know any goofy little formulas like I do on I seriously dislike Microsoft Excel. And
you can ask it to write the Excel formula for you of what it is you're trying to do something. And it usually will do it pretty correctly. I do, I sit on the board of a university, and I do have to say that they have, they know that the ChatGPT doesn't always give the right answers on statistics equations, but it does if you are using the paid version. So they're letting all the students know if you use the free version, it might not give you the right answer, but if you pay for it, it does. So that's a little tricky there.
Right. It's just because the paid version, it's almost like it's real time. Whereas the unpaid version it may not have the last few months of what's on the web, you know. So if you have the paid version, you can get access to real-time knowledge up to what was, you know, what's been put out there 3 seconds ago, I guess you would say. Whereas the unpaid version is kind of it has a lapse in its knowledge, not much, but as far as research goes, it's great for the paid version is great.
Okay. And it's constantly learning from what I understand or what I've read. So, and I think one of the reservations is that it tracks what you're doing or what you ask, so that the moment that you ask it, it is like no longer, it's like kind of like open source thought. It's the idea has already left your your idea. So now it could be owned by anybody. I guess that's one of the reservations I have, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Disprove it,
I
Brandy.
mean,
No.
of course, well, and true, they're always going to use the data. They're going to use some of the data from the people who are using it to improve the product,
Yeah.
but most do. Every time you go to a website and it has something about cookies, it's gathering data on you. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. But I'm not Bill Gates and I don't have $1 million. So I'm like, I don't know what this thing can steal from me. Like, really.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just one of the, I haven't, I don't know. I guess I've just seen the benefits so much of using it. And I know what you're saying as far as like when you start a conversation with it, all of your conversations are archived. So let's say you start having a conversation with it about a social media marketing plan for Valentine's Day, but you start the conversation like in November, right? And then you leave it alone for a little bit. Well, you can go back to that archived conversation and it's going to pick up right where you left off. And you don't have to reprime it, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So yes, it does keep track and it evolves. And like with my custom GPTs that I created for my flower shop, I can create those for basically anybody's flower shop because I can pre-program it with your mission, vision, brand persona, everything on the back end. It knows a lot about you already, so you don't have to start over from the beginning. Here's my flower shop, here's our website, here's our customer base.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of the most impressive things I think that you're doing on a personal level is that you've actually created this chat bot that has learned everything about your business, which I feel like
Yes.
is something I would really love my customer support team to be using. We use ChatGPT, but we're all using it on our separate, like our own way that we speak.
Right.
And so that it's not conforming to the voice of, say, details. And
Exactly.
I feel like it would be really nice to have them all using that same prompt. But then I also worry, does it sound like we're computers on the other end? Because we're real people that are typing back to people. And sometimes they think we're all computers. So, it's
You know what? Let me tell you how to get around that.
Okay,
So,
please.
so first of all, and I was an English teacher. So here's where the English teacher in me comes in. Hold on just a second. I'm going to make sure nobody calls me there. So here's the English teacher in me. So when you have an author that writes, anybody, you have the mood is what the reader feels when they read it. The tone is what how the author is speaking, the type of attitude that they have, right? So, and the style has to do with formal or informal or that kind of thing. So, you can actually, if you want ChatGPT to write something for you, you can either you can upload a sample of your own writing. So let's say you've got a good couple of paragraphs that shows your writing and say, I need you to take on my style and tone of writing, and then tell it what you want it to write. Now, if you want it to write like Oprah, you can tell it to write like Oprah. If you want it to write like John Steinbeck, you can have it write like John Steinbeck.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, you can even do this. You can say, I need you to write 85% Oprah and 15% John Steinbeck. And it's crazy what it comes up with, how it can do that. But if you do the work on the front end to make sure that you know your brand persona and you know your customer base, like I have a rural customer base. I'm not in New York City or, like Manhattan or anything. I'm not a quote unquote luxury florist. That's not my customer base. So my style and tone of writing is a little bit different than someone who has a different customer base. So
yeah, it's
you
amazing that you
can,
put all those different
yes,
parameters in it. And, you're not going to get the same response, but maybe similar, maybe,
right,
but could be completely different, just depending on who you're
right.
talking to and how you want to sound. I always love to ask it, write this like a Valley girl. And it's like really
Yes.
anything. So
Well, and
but
if it writes something that you like, but you want it to be just a little bit more of something, you can say, revise this and add 5% humor,
yeah.
or revise this and add 10% more formality, and then it's like, and then you can say 15%, and it's just crazy to see how it changes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the easiest thing, is if you upload, I mean, if you just say, here's a piece of my writing, I want you to analyze this and I want you to understand my style and tone of writing.
Mhm.
And then you go back and you say, okay, now I want you to write me XYZ, and I want you to take on my style and tone of writing. It will do that.
Awesome. You shared with the audience at AIFD some prompts of what they can do to get started on a sequence like that.
Yeah,
Is there a place where anybody that's watching this could download those for you, or maybe we can include that?
absolutely.
Yeah, I
So what
think
I'll
it's
do is,
super helpful.
yes, I will send you all of that.
Okay.
Plus, I have a website where I've put out some things, and I'm slowly putting out things. I've got so much going on that I've got so much I need to upload to my website, but I do have an introduction to Chat GPT
Mhm.
little course on there that's free.
Okay.
And I have an ebook that's an introduction to Chat GPT. And then what I'll do is I'll send you all those fun QR codes that I shared with everyone in the lecture. I'll just send those to you, and those prompts. And we did a social media campaign calendar prompt, and then we did one where we could have ChatGPT analyze your website and then give you recommendations for SEO enhancement. Yes.
Well, I feel like to be a successful florist in the industry, you have to play the game. Like you have to do all the things that everybody else in the industry is doing. So it's like you have to have a blog, you have to have social media posts. I mean, you do those to the level that you want, but all those ways are funnels to bring in new customers and ways for them to see what you're talking about or your style. And so if you're not consistent or regular, you kind of fall to the bottom of Google. So these are all different activities that they could be doing to enhance, and you can be incorporating the Chat GPT or Lavender, I think is one, or Grammarly. On these are all these different steps that you could be doing to make that work a little less heavy. Do you do time blocking too? Do you suggest like sitting down and like knocking out a bunch of stuff all at once, or how do you organize like your day or your rituals?
It's funny. This is where I fall back into old school.
Pad of
But
paper calendar.
there is a program called Motion that is
Okay.
really good for time blocking. It is an AI program.
That wasn't on your
They
list, Brandy. Did you learn that
No,
one
it
too?
wasn't.
I have all
No,
of them. I'm
because
like, wait,
there's
where was
so
Motion on
many.
here?
Yes,
Shoot.
there's so many. Motion is a good one to use for time blocking. It will help you better utilize your time. Um, this is the one thing that I have never been able to, it's like it has to be mine. I bullet journal.
Okay.
And so I have my bullet journal, and my entire life is in that bullet journal, my calendar, my to-do list. And it's like, I don't know, that's the one part of my life that has to be pen and paper.
Yeah.
And,
The Chat
and
GPT gets you when the
no.
whole
So
world implodes. You're going to be like, I still have my journal here, though. It's like,
well, and our lives are so, my husband and I, our family, our lives are so insane. I can plan out my day, and it just
yeah.
it never. So what I do personally, and I have ADHD, like, whoo.
At
And
least you
so
know and you're diagnosed, right? You're
yes,
not running from it.
no, no, no,
You're
I'm
embracing
not.
it.
And
Oh,
I,
it's beautiful.
as a mom and as a teacher, I helped many children through the process of learning how to cope with true ADHD. So my coping mechanism is that I knock out the important things that I have in the morning before my day is completely a dumpster fire
Yeah.
by the end of it, because there are so many things that happen, so that's the one thing that I just can't turn over to technology. I just, it's in my little bullet journals. I have a stack of them. I've completed them, and then I just go on to a new one,
No, I
you
know I'm
know.
part of this journal. Psh, It's like it's no longer fun to look at. I'm gonna move on. No, my husband and I are both we're undiagnosed, but I feel like we both have I'm like, that is your ADHD is on full display with all these numerous projects that are going on. And I think florists are naturally that way because we want to be inspired by different things and different things inspire us. So we move from like one quick project to another. And I think it's really a helpful way to like deal with that. But
Yeah.
let's look at some of these other ones.
Okay.
So you have Grammarly. These are the ones we were using from your list. Okay, we use
Grammarly.
Grammarly. Awesome. If someone is not using that, it basically doesn't let you use improper punctuation or spell the words the wrong way, right? Which is so important when you're communicating because people draw big conclusions about your intelligence, whether you know how to use an I before E or E before I, you know, and so forth.
That one is super helpful, especially on the computer where whatever employee is typing those card messages, you know,
Yeah.
and they may or may not be great at spelling and punctuation, you know, because it's so embarrassing for, you know, for a message to go out that's like with deepest sympathy. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's supposed to be sympathy. And
Yeah.
so Grammarly will catch that and put a big red line under it. So my girls know if it's got a big red line under it, you're going to click on it and you're going to see what the suggestion is. And it just kind of saves all of our rear ends, you know, with little things like that.
Well, it's so important, you know, and it's like we got to look professional. So that's a great one.
Yeah.
Lavender is one we don't use here. So what is that? What is
Yeah.
lavender? I know it's email writing, I think is what it said.
Yeah. So it's just here's the thing with things like lavender and
Love the name, by the way.
I know, and some of these other ones, a lot of these, I'll give you a little bit of story. ChatGPT is where it all started, like as far as things like this. So a lot of these secondary websites, they have a specific function like email writing or marketing, you know, marketing campaigns or things like that. But what they actually have is they have an API key, which is basically they purchase this little API key, which is a code that links ChatGPT to their website. So they're really just using ChatGPT, but only for a very specific function.
I see.
So whatever, I guess, if you're one of those people that you get overwhelmed by using so many different programs and websites, like, you know, one for this and one for this and so on and so forth, then if you'll just go back to the basics and go back to ChatGPT, ChatGPT will do all of those things. It's just all of these companies have oh yes, do you use any of the AI programs for images? Absolutely. Sorry, I just saw her question. Am I supposed to
No,
answer
thank
those?
you,
That was
Margot.
fun.
What is that one? Like Mocher, I think is I mean, we've been using Canva for that.
So,
I
oh gosh, okay. Canva is my favorite when it comes to producing things. I use Midjourney, yes, but Dolly 3, which is the program that's built into ChatGPT, they used to be separate, and now they're together. Is my absolute favorite, and here's why. So I can be having a conversation with ChatGPT. Let's say I was having it create a social media calendar for me, you know, for the month of December, right? And then, so it creates it and it creates my suggestions and captions and hashtags and what days to post it on. And then I say to it in the same conversation, okay, create some images for these social media posts. And in that same conversation, based on what we've been talking about, it will create those images. Whereas if you go to Midjourney or any of those other programs that create those AI images, you're doing it in isolation, which I guess it's fine if you know exactly what you want. But if you're having a conversation with ChatGPT and all of a sudden you're like, because especially when I'm talking to it about a certain floral design or like a color scheme
flowers.
or and then I'm having this conversation and it comes up with great ideas. And I'm like, okay, well, produce an image for me so I can see what that would look like. I can do that within that same conversation. So
Yeah.
that's why
And listen,
I love ChatGPT's version.
oh, that's so incredible. I'm actually, and I
You're
was at
welcome.
AMC, Sarah Campbell gave a presentation, and if you heard about the story of her life and her journey, she didn't have a lot of pictures growing up, and she would basically describe what it was, and like ChatGPT would paint a picture of it or whatever, just based on the description. And I just thought, wow, we have really come to a new realm. Like, even if you didn't have a photograph of this place, like ChatGPT can just create it based on whatever you're telling it. And obviously there's, not as much truth to the real thing, but it does give you it's just boundless. I also think it's really interesting when copyrights come to that, right? Is it infringing on anybody's copyright by pulling out these images? So it's like, oh gosh, something I think
Right.
as a business owner, I'm always conscious of, but
Right. So I
yeah.
think that has to do with a few things. There are certain AI image generators that do pull from copyrighted images. Now, when I use Dolly 3, Chat GPT's version, and let's say that I say, create me a floral design inspired by, this song by the Beatles. It will give me a message saying, this could be copyright infringement. And then what I tell it to do is I say, reword the prompt and produce the image. So then what it does is it will reword the prompt itself in a way that it's not copyright infringement. Um, and you don't even see the reworded prompt. You just tell it to reword I just figured that out. I was like, well, how do I get around this? But I don't use these images as, I don't claim it as my work, I guess you would
Yeah.
say. What I use it for, I use AI image generators to bridge the gap between abstract ideas and then those concrete floral designs that I end up creating. So
Yeah.
it's almost like walking into a museum and you see a Picasso on the wall and it inspires you to create a floral design. Well, it's kind of the same way. This is a new form of inspiration. It's just a new way to explore your creativity. That's what I think. So it's all about how you use it.
Yeah, no, it's such great advice too. So what are some AI evolving and into the floral industry? What are some of the things that you see happening over the next few years? Because I've seen people like say create this centerpiece idea in this ballroom and just adds all the pictures, and it's like, wow, that's really great. I'm still gonna have to make it, right? At the end of the day.
Right.
Not look like that, but what else have you seen that other florists are using?
Well, not so much when I think about the farms, the flower farms, and I think about the capabilities that they have with being able to input information like predictions of climate, weather, even if they're trying to do cross pollinations, new hybrids, so on and so forth. That is where AI can come in handy, because where there may be thousands and thousands of dollars spent on strategies and experiments that may or may not work. Whereas if you have your data and you have your predictions, you will be able to have a more accurate outcome maybe before you even start.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of capabilities there, especially with our flower farms being able to save money and time, that kind of thing. Now, as far as floral designers go, I think it's a way for, first of all, there's a huge, with students especially, okay? So if you have students, especially in the high school, like the FFA classes, so on and so forth, where you may not be able to get their hands on fresh florals every single day, but you need to give them visuals, this is definitely a way to do it. I think if a florist is wanting to explore a new color scheme, a new style of floral design, or maybe they're studying a floral design that they've never had any experience with, I mean, if you have a customer all of a sudden that wants $10,000 in wedding florals in Dutch Flemish style, but you've never done that before, yeah, I mean, you can definitely go create some images and be like, okay, yeah, now I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
So you don't feel so isolated. I mean, especially for people who maybe you don't have someone around to bounce ideas off of.
Well, and that's where I feel like Pinterest was a huge game changer for just finding those ideas. But how many hours have you spent looking through Pinterest for just that perfect shot? So you could describe what you're envisioning in your mind for the perfect shot, and then AI can generate it rather than having to spend hours and hours looking.
Exactly.
Is kind of mind blowing. And it's just like a new resource. You know, when I was little, we had the encyclopedias. I remember 150 lined up, and I was like, if you wanted to learn about a subject, go open that book and read about it. And now it's just like, oh, I want to know about this, and I just type it in my phone. And you know, we are just learning at such a fast pace now. I don't know what 50 years from now it's going to look like. It's almost very scary. The cars
Well,
are
think about it
flying,
like
Brandy. I'm
this.
sure of it.
I know. Think about it like this. So back when we were kids, we
Yeah.
had to memorize the capitals of all the states, right?
Yeah.
So today's generation and even us in today's uh, society, we don't have to memorize those. We just need to know how to utilize technology to find that answer. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the difference.
I know.
You know
I
what I
would really
mean?
lose
Like
at Jeopardy
it's
with that state capitals too. I think I'd do horrible with
it's
that.
just different, you know, being able to utilize and manipulate data and use technology to find the answers that you need is almost more important than the memorization that we had as kids. So
Mhm.
it's different for this new generation. And I use ChatGPT as my new Google. I don't know about you, but I seem to get more accurate result, not accurate, but like I don't have to go through and like look at all the articles that came up. Like usually it will be able to combine information together to get me the right answer immediately. So,
Okay, I use it to plan out my trips if I'm going somewhere, and I put what type of restaurant I want to eat at and how long I have. It will build out an entire itinerary with great options when you get there
yes,
too. It's like, wow, this is, and it will tell you what to wear. Like, this is
exactly.
appropriate. You just have to say
Right.
that you want it. Well, I want to run through some of these other ones. We use HubSpot all day long. Like I have
Yeah.
to say at details, if you don't have a basic way to keep track of just those customers and what they like or their preferences on things, like that's what HubSpot does for us. So much email automation, and it's really a brilliant tool. I can't say enough nice things
Yes.
about it. Very
That one.
expensive though. Like they say they have a free version. I know nothing about that free version.
Right.
Like, and for all of you that
It's
details is expensive, take a look at HubSpot. There's a lot.
yes. And a lot of those have free versions. Of course, you're always going to pay for convenience.
Yeah.
That's why I would say that go on and try these tools first.
Mhm.
But you're going to find some of them work for you and some of them don't, because there are some ways in your personal life and in your business where you find you're losing time, and there are other ways that you're like, no, I like doing that, I want to keep doing
Yeah.
that myself.
Yeah.
So try it first, do the free trial, the free version, and then if you love it, it might be worth the investment, whatever it is. And then sometimes it's not. It depends on your preference. And that's why I gave so many at that lecture, because it's like, here's 100 million ways that you could save some time. It just depends. Like Tango. Okay, I love Tango.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That's one we don't use. Step-by-step guides, I think is what I have.
oh, okay. So for example, I have a new customer service employee, and she did not know how to go into our POS system and add a payment to a house account. Customers send us checks, and we have to credit those to their house accounts. So I just used the Chrome extension. I had downloaded Tango, and I just turn it on. And so I show her one time how to do that. And as I'm clicking through these different things, it's recording my actions with explanations and with snapshots. And
Yeah.
then at the end, it shows me what it's created, which is like it almost looks like a PDF where you like copied and pasted screenshots, and then I can go back through and take out certain steps, or I can change the wording. And then I save it, download it as a PDF. She prints it, she puts it in her little binder, and done. So I only had to go through the steps one time,
Yeah.
and now it's
Amazing.
saved. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've been doing more of that. In fact, Brandy, who works for me, sent me instructions on how to add like an alias to a Google email. And she sent me something similar, but it wasn't Tango. It was with like story something or
There's
other. But
another one out there.
yeah, but I
Yes,
mean, there's several,
there's
and
ones out there.
it's just crazy to me. But how many times do we get the same question when people are implementing details? And it's like, okay, step by step, here's how you do it again. And we want to customize it and make everything seem really personalized here, because that's what we do. But at the same point,
Right.
It's
Well,
your own
I think
office
it's that
when you're doing things. I feel like,
it's
yeah.
that same question. It's like we only have so many hours and minutes in the day. You have to make those hours and minutes count,
Yeah.
where it's important. And then sometimes, because we are so busy and we have so many demands as small business owners, that sometimes I'm gonna let Chat GPT write that website copy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And no shame, right? No shame
No,
then.
absolutely not. I don't want to lose my mind. I did for a few years, and now, I mean, I still kind of I'm losing my mind, but now at least I save a lot of time with AI tools. I use Zapier.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was really bad at, if brides would go to my website, they can do a little form to have a
Details has that now.
consultation. Huh?
Details that has offers a form now. Just
Yes.
stay listening.
And so it will send an email to my Gmail account and say, "Hey, somebody filled out this form." And then I I would wait too long to get back to them. It's just
Mm,
I would send that return email and be like, "Hey, do you want to sign up for a consultation?" Well, anyway, I use Zapier. Zapier is an AI program that connects different platforms. So
yeah.
now what happens with Zapier is when this email that says something about wedding consultation hits my inbox, it triggers, and then now I created this second email, a reply email that
Mhm.
has a link to my Google Calendar where they can sign up for a one-on-one. So
Yeah.
now it will trigger that, and now it will immediately send them that reply email. And I don't have to do it anymore. And I don't have
Yeah.
to feel
Isn't that
guilty because I
amazing?
forgot. So
Well, we also implement Zapier. We call it Zapier here. I don't know what's right, but whatever works for it. It's
tomato, tomato.
brilliant. And
Yes,
even when someone logs a payment, it can show up a certain way wherever you might want that. Or if someone again books the wedding, it can show up on your Google Calendar. They record a payment, it could go onto your QuickBooks. So many really cool things, and anything that Zapier is linked with. We have an account as well, so you can link that through our API. So we love those things, and we can't tell people enough to use them. But sometimes people, they don't really go to that extra step to know like what could they do extra. So if you are interested at all, please don't hesitate to ask us, because we are here to help and help you
I'm
implement the best we can. We can only do
yes.
so much. We're not going to do it for you. We can show you how to do it. So
Just start with one thing. Like
yeah.
that's what I could that's all I can say is like start with one thing that is taking up a lot of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And go from there and just find a solution for that one thing, whether it's responding to emails, doing social media posts, doing email marketing, um, you know, doing, creating your own website, whatever it is. Find that one thing and then go and find that one AI tool, which I'll send you all those ones. And so then people can have access to those. Um,
Thank
I do have to say on my website, when you first log into my website, there is a link to all of my custom GPTs that I created for florists at the
Okay.
top. So if
And
people want to
remind us
use
your
those,
website again. It's bloomwithbrandy.com.
bloomwithbrandy.com.
Yay.
So those are in the OpenAI store. There's a social media content creator. There's an email marketing one. There's a floral design. I don't remember what I called it, like creativity assistant. Thank you. Yes, that's it. So there's a lot of custom GPTs. Now these I pre-programmed them on the back end to have the basic information needed for florists. Like for example, the social media custom GPT, I said, okay, these are the content pillars that usually as flower shops, we do social media posts under these content pillars. You know, here's some of the jargon that we use. So then whoever goes in and starts using it, you don't have to start from scratch, I guess
Right.
you would say. Yeah.
It
So
already
it's kind
kind
of
of
an in
knows who
between.
you are. Yeah.
Right.
And didn't you love Miranda? That is my chat GPT wizard. No, she's a real person.
But
Um,
I can, if I do an analysis of a flower shop's, I did this for my friend Sarah Labui. I had this, I can do this analysis with of her brand persona. And then I can take that full analysis of her brand persona, and then I create custom GPTs that are just for her flower shop.
wow. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So what is happening next with Bloom with Brandy? You've got all these educational courses you're doing. You're the newly crowned Texas State Floral Designer of the Year. What is this next year going to bring for you during your reign? This is your Miss America
I
moment.
um well, right now what is tomorrow? I don't even know. Thursday I'm headed to Mid America Cup. I just did Sylvia Cup. I had a great time at SAF. That was my first time at SAF. It was wonderful. If you've never been, you need to go.
I'll
Um,
second that. Yeah, you have to
yes,
go. Ask us about it if you want to.
absolutely. It hits more on the business aspect of the floral industry, which was really refreshing, nice. Um, just because you have to nurture both sides of the small business owner, the right and the left brain, you
Yeah,
know.
I feel like AIFD is definitely more artistic and more artsy and filling that side of your business or your talents, getting the artistry side. SAF convention is more the business side, and they're
A,
equally as
here's how
important.
I describe it. AIFD is food for my soul, and SAF is food for my brain. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that's the practical, logistic business woman, and then AIFD is what keeps my creative heart, running. I don't know. It's nice to have both in your life. It really is. So Mid America Cup on Thursday.
What is
Of
the Mid
course,
America Cup? What is
it,
that? That's not the
it's a
Gateway to the America's Cup. No,
no, no.
Panama.
This one's at the Arkansas Florist Association.
I'm gonna
Theirs
be
is this
there, Brandy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see you 3 times in 1 year. I can't even believe it. Holy
Oh,
cow.
that's awesome. Yes. So I've got some other things in the works that I can't quite talk about yet, but with Texas Designer of the Year,
Okay.
there's going to be our next copy of Texas in Bloom is coming out soon. And so they had me do an article in that, and then I had decorated the presidential suite. And so all of those pictures came out. And actually, funny enough, I was talking about Dutch Flemish, so I did the presidential suite in Dutch Flemish style.
Okay.
And so I'll be doing some more things with Texas Designer of the Year. Our symposium this next year in Lake City is going to be completely amazing. It's going to be big and bold and over the top. And then I would tell people just keep watching my website. Things are a little slow for me right now because my family's in the middle of moving houses and I feel like I'm going crazy. But as soon as I get a grasp on my life here in about 3 weeks, then I'm going to be putting out some more things. But in the meantime, if you've never touched ChatGPT, there is a free, very short e-course on my website, and there's a little ebook guide. If you just want to go and take a look at those and download them, they are free right now. You can go play with the custom GPTs if you'd like. And then I'll start putting out more things. I'd slow and steady.
Well, don't delay, everyone. You should get on that right away, because she's right. If you just implement one at a time, it will change your life. I stopped after the first 7. I'm like, this is enough for me. No, but yeah, so that's something. I just want to mention it too. I follow you on social media, you personally, and you did something really cool the other day, and I've always wanted to do it as a girl, but you made something where you soaked a big wrought iron twirly thing in this like solution, and it built crystals all over it. Like, can you tell us about this? Because I feel like anybody likes
Yes.
crystals too.
So for my prop for Texas Designer of the Year, one of the 3 categories that we design for, you have to bring a prop.
Okay.
And so I kind of put my science nerd teacher hat back on. And yes, I did use ChatGPT, and I wanted, it was all about reflections. That was the theme, right? And so one of the things I remember from growing up in Oklahoma is I would go out and pick quartz crystals, taking hikes, and we would find quartz crystals on our deer lease and so on and so forth. And so I always collected quartz crystals. So I found this old thing at a antique shop. It was just a metal spiral sculpture.
Yeah.
Right.
And never ending spiral that kind of circled back into itself.
Exactly. It had that kind of Fibonacci-esque feel to it, which was also important for me. And I grew borax crystals. So if you ever remember as a kid with your 3rd grade teacher growing crystals on a pipe cleaner, it's the same concept that you learned when you were little. So I covered it in pipe cleaners because borax crystals have to have something with texture to stick to.
Okay.
And then created borax water. You just use distilled water and borax. And so it was 1.5 gallons of distilled water to one of those boxes of borax. And you just have to heat it to the right temperature, and depending on how much you need, it's got to be completely submerged. And once you submerge it in that, it's almost a boiling point when you pour it into whatever container you're using, Rubbermaid tote, whatever. And then once you submerge it, you can't touch it because the crystalline structures will start forming. And so you have to kind of suspend it in the water. So you're going to hang it up from something and like do sticks across the top of the Rubbermaid tote. I think I showed it in the video I posted. And within 24 hours, you're going to have it's going to be completely covered in borax crystals.
That's amazing. It looks just so beautiful. It looked like diamonds sparkling up. And I thought that must have taken weeks. And you said 1 day. So I was like, I need to do this. I'm going to go to Michael's, buy a bunch of pipe cleaners, get my borax. I'm going to be doing.
There you go. I mean,
look like Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no, I kind of felt that way. I was like, but borax crystals will stick to almost anything that has a texture. So like a cow skull, a piece of driftwood, a book. People have submerged old books, in borax water, and then it just crystallizes over it.
Cool.
And then, you just seal it, with a clear sealant afterwards, after it's dried. And it's pretty amazing. And then you can use it for any structure, any shape, you can grow borax crystals on it. So.
Well, that's something fun. Everybody's got to show us what they make with their borax crystals in honor of Blooms with Brandy. We're going to do a contest, Brandy, and that's going to be what they have to do. And if you haven't seen it, we'll connect something to this with what you've made, because I thought it was extraordinary. So
Thank you.
it helped her win that Texas State Designer of the Year. I mean, it was very, very unique. I've never seen anything like it. All right. So at the end of our interviews, we always do a rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Brandy?
I am ready.
Okay. What is your favorite word in another language?
Salamat po, which is actually 2 words, but salamat po means thank you in Tagalog, which is my husband's language.
Okay.
It's just fun to say.
Yeah. How do you say it again?
Salamat po.
Okay.
Or
I'll
maybe
have
maganda. I don't know. That means beautiful in Tagalog. That one's pretty too. So
Paganda. I can say that one.
maganda.
Maganda.
Maganda. Yeah.
Maganda.
Yeah.
What is your drink of choice?
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Oh, it just depends. I mean,
Black coffee. Straight up black coffee. I love black coffee. My dad drank black coffee my entire childhood, and then I just kind of took on the habit.
no sugar or cream?
Nope. Black
No.
coffee.
Shoot.
Yes.
What is your favorite flower?
The free spirit rose. Absolutely, hands down. Free spirit roses. It's all the best of all the worlds. It smells fabulous. It's beautiful. It's vibrant. It lasts a long time. It blooms as big as my hand. It's just, I don't know. It just makes me happy.
I love it. I know what I'm going to get you next time I send you flowers. Summer, winter, spring, or fall?
Fall.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you a
Give
pumpkin
me
spice
sweater
girl?
weather. Sweater
Yes,
weather.
sweater weather.
I love cardigans. I usually have a cardigan wherever I go. That first time you feel that cold wind, that's for me. So
It's short-lived here in Florida, but we love that. We love a fall. In fact, we're going to
yes.
have a pumpkin spice. It's going to be pumpkin spice and floral advice. So for new people that are signing up, we'll send you a Starbucks gift card, if you do that.
Oh, that is adorable. I love it.
Yeah. Tell your morning or evening? What do you prefer?
Used to be evening, but now that I'm old, I get a lot done in the mornings. Now I love mornings. I don't know. I think it's just part of getting older. So now mornings, definitely.
Yeah. You've got your black cup of coffee, your hair in rollers, and
That's what I do.
watching the sunrise.
You got it,
See it all
girl.
now. In fact, the first person who sends me a picture of Brandy like that in Chat GPT wins a prize, I think.
Hey, there is a video of me on TikTok with big old rollers in my hair giving Valentine's Day advice. It
Oh,
was right when the trend of hot rollers, like I heard about it. It was at the beginning of this year. They were like, "Oh, hot rollers are trending again," and I was like, "Hallelujah, thank
yeah,
you, big Texas hair again." And I
yeah.
threw out my flat iron and I said, "Never again." And now most of the time, I just hot roller my hair. Go back
Really,
to
I
big
was a
Texas
hot
hair.
roller girl for years, so I understand that love and
Yep.
passion. I would wake up
Mm-hmm.
at 6 a.m. to do my hair every day.
Heck yeah.
Are you more of a thinker or a doer?
Oh, um, I'm very much a doer. I'm
You
very
let
much a doer, I
ChatGPT do
think.
the thinking for you now.
Um, Here's what's funny. My brain never stops. So I'm a thinker at night, and I wake up with weird ideas. It's like I dream about them, and then I immediately have to go and get it done before I forget about it. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. And thank you to Adam. He says, thanks to sharing with us, Brandy, and to Corinne for hosting these great sessions, really taking away a lot from this, and excited to share it with the rest of my team. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you, Adam.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to try to share as much as possible. Like I said, I am still a flower shop owner. I'm still a mom. I have 2 crazy children I'm trying to keep up with. So yeah, right now I don't get to share as much as I want to. I get it out when I can. But people can always message me if they have a question, and I will get back to them as fast as I can. Sometimes it's hard for me to put out like proper videos and stuff because I don't know, because I look crazy half the time, and I'm running around with hot rollers in my hair. So
Yeah, no, but we're all there. And like I said before, you're our demographic, right? We're all living the same life. And I feel like we're all trying to just be the best version of ourselves all the time. So a few
absolutely.
more
Yes.
places that you would
Okay.
most want to travel to.
Oh, I want to go back to the Philippines with my husband. It's been a very long time. He hasn't been back since he was a child. And so he still has a little bit of family over there. So we want to go back and go to the islands. And
Beautiful.
that's where I want to
The
go.
pictures I've
Yeah.
seen. And
Yeah.
I don't know that I could fly that long in a plane though. Like I'm like 8 or 9 hours is about the most I can do, Brandy. How long is that flight?
Um, I think he told me, I can't remember what he told me, but I remember this. It was so long that they had to, when he immigrated here, they came over two by two, and he was like 7 years old and his little brother was like 4, and it was just the two of them on a plane, and there was a stewardess who was taking care of them, and the flight was so long that he remembers stopping in Kuwait.
Oh,
So they had a layover in Kuwait, and then they continued on to New York City. I think it's like, I can't remember, but
it's
it's,
probably like 18 hours or something. I would,
yeah,
yeah, I would, I go a little stir crazy. I don't know. I got to walk around.
yeah.
So what's for dinner tonight, Brandy? And are you
Oh, to tell you the truth, Neva has a volleyball game, so it's probably going to be not a concession stand.
no.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what is your
I
go-to
mean,
karaoke
on
song?
nights when it's volleyball game night, it's, huh?
Oh, sorry, you cut out a
My
little bit.
karaoke song. Oh, I was just saying on nights when it's volleyball, like we're all exhausted and I'm like, whatever, just get stuff from the concession stand. Okay, karaoke song. Oh, that's a hard one. I haven't sang karaoke in forever. Probably just to be a goofball, probably a New Kids on the Block song.
You can never go
I'm
wrong.
not the serious karaoke singer. I'm not going to get up there and like sing my best and try to be like, yeah, I think that's kind of silly. Like you need to be silly when you're singing karaoke, right?
Yeah, NKOTB all the way.
I could do some step by step,
Okay.
that,
Ooh,
yeah.
baby.
Gonna get to you, girl. Yes, totally.
So do you have a hidden talent that we all need to know? So it's not hidden anymore.
Um, I don't know if this is a hidden talent, but I know how to drive a train.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I've never heard anybody give that answer before, so I don't think is it like a
When I
little
was
train that goes around at Christmas time around like the tree?
No.
They know.
Well, okay. Long story short, when I was in high school, one of the jobs that I had, there was a smaller replica steam engine in the state park. Like I grew up in a state park basically in Oklahoma. My grandparents ran one of the camping sites, and my mom owned the gift shop there. And there was a train depot, and it was a real replica of a train. It was just a third of the size. And so, people would get on it, and ride through the mountain and everything. And it's kind of the same as driving a real train. And so I can drive a train. And the the boys, I was the only girl that worked at that depot, and we would also take tourists on horseback rides through the mountains. So I can do that. But they would put me on the front of the train, which is very dangerous, and we have to grease the track by hand. So I would
Mm.
hold two grease sticks, and they would drive this train like 90 to nothing while I'm greasing the track.
Ew,
Like,
that's so dangerous. I don't think you'd be allowed to do that now. I I
I,
hear the train and I just think of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at Disney and a runaway train. So I don't, that's the only,
I've always been a daredevil, so it was just, I don't know, it was a thrill for me, and I always like to learn how to do new things. I consider myself a jack of all trades, so yeah, I know how to drive a train, and
that's
so
great. I love it. Okay, so you have to show us too. What is your favorite dance move?
oh, one to embarrass my kids.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, they can't do this one. It's the
Oh,
What's that called?
the MC Hammer? No, is that the Running Man?
No, I think that's the, wait, no, isn't this one the Running Man?
Yeah.
I don't, no, Roger Rabbit. That's what it's called. Roger
Oh, the
Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit. That's right. Yeah, I love it.
Yes. Oh, I love embarrassing my children. It's fabulous. They're 16 and 20. So I embarrass them, but they don't know how to do it. They can't do it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't grow up. They're not
But
an 80s
that
kid.
one, this one, this,
Which one? What's that?
the
And
new one where
then,
they do the shaking the hips, it's from me a few years ago. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
my
it's
kids are
not a
watching this
TikTok
like,
dance,
oh
my
God,
daughter doesn't
mom.
know how to do it. So, but we showed them how to do like that. And like the new kids on the block where they go back and forth with their legs,
Oh yeah.
and then like crisscross getting into the 90s, right? Like
No, I
crisscross.
know. Jump, jump. No, I know.
That's
We're
right.
aging ourselves. You can tell Brandy and I just really love each other.
Yeah.
And okay, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, um, I think it would be the ability to, I don't know. I'm really into, I've been rewatching Umbrella Academy. Have you ever watched Umbrella Academy?
Oh no, I've seen it on Netflix though.
Okay, so 5, he can jump time from one timeline to another, and like he can like disappear and pop up in another room, or like
Okay.
he can jump from one year to it, so he can time travel.
Okay.
I think I kind of want to do that.
All
Yes,
right.
like 5. So yeah.
Yeah, very nice. We're gonna do this a compilation at the end of the year with all of our guests, and it's gonna be really funny. I think it's gonna be super. So I'm so glad that you participated and showed us your dance moves. That's just perfection. You're
Oh,
probably gonna see that
I'm so-
somewhere in here. Yeah, there
oh,
you
yes, I'm aging myself seriously, but
go.
I'm past the point of once you get past 40, you're like, I don't care anymore.
I know it is really,
Yeah.
I still have
It's
a
kind
little
of
bit
freeing.
of
It's kind of nice. You're like, I don't really care what anybody thinks anymore. I'm just going to do anything I want.
I know. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this month's edition of Details University Live. And I'm so happy to share all of this great knowledge with our members. Thank you, Brandy, again, for always being a delight. And I look forward to seeing you in like 3 days in
Yes.
Arkansas. Yes, we
Yes,
will be
I'm
there.
very excited. I get to see you too. So I love my Details family. And if you're seriously, guys, if you're just jumping on here and you're not a member of Details yet, I have found so many amazing uses for their program. And it really helped me, especially when I was new to the floral industry, grasp the concept of accurate pricing and being able to order exactly what you need versus just kind of blindly ordering, and creating recipes and becoming more efficient. So Details is definitely the way to go. I've always been a loyal customer, always will be.
Thank you. So sweet. I love it. We're going to use that testimonial too. So
Oh,
we're going to see your face with
yes.
that. Somehow it just rolls off the tongue different when someone else says it. We can tell people all day long, but to have actual people who are using it in their business, it means that much more to us
Yes.
and also to people who hear it. So thank you. Thank you for that. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Give my love to Mark and your
Yes.
2 lovely children, and I will see you in a few short days. Safe travels.
Yeah. All right. Love you. Love you. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you, guys.